Hey guys, what's up? It's me. I didn't plan to make a video today, and excuse the way I look, because normally when I do make a video I actually try to prep myself just a little bit before I get on camera, but I kind of don't care today. I woke up this morning and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Dare I say that I actually started to feel a little bit better today. I'm limping a little bit less, and the pain in my leg and back is actually considerably less today, so that was exciting because I've been pretty frustrated and bordering on being depressed. Not really depressed, but just like super bored and not being able to function at my fullest capacity. And if any of you guys have watched my vlogs previous to this one, you'll know that I've been dealing with some back and sciatic pain, and that's basically what I'm talking about. So anyway, not to go into anything about that whole thing, but I did wake up and I was feeling a little bit better, and so I got motivation to just kind of clean my space, my living space, and unclutter, because if any of you have ever been dealing with chronic pain for 2 months or more, you know that you just can't function at your normal capacity. And so I have not been cleaning my apartment the way I normally would like to, and just things start piling up in the clutter. And so I'm saying all that to say, so I got some motivation to start doing that, and I just sort of flipped on YouTube to play in the background as I start cleaning up my space. And I have YouTubers that I follow just like you guys do, and so I daily kind of check out what everybody's up to. And one person in particular I follow, his name is Mike the Vegan here on YouTube, and I really do like his content. He has really great videos that are just like what's in the news right now. He talks a lot about the health of veganism, and if you want to check out his channel, he just really has some really great content, so I do follow him. So I flipped him on this morning, and his most recent video talked about the FBI investigation into these 2 little rescued piglets that got rescued from like this huge bacon manufacturer out in Utah. And so there's like this whole FBI probing into these little pigs being rescued. So I don't know how the FBI is involved in that sort of thing, but it just kind of shows you the correlation between government and our food system, and how really severely corrupted it is. And I'm not even here to go into that whole thing, but what I wanted to just say was, obviously I had that playing in the background as I was cleaning my place, and so once his video was over, it goes into autoplay into other related videos, and so I'm listening to them in the background. And then one of them that really caught my attention to actually make me stop what I was doing, and I sat down to really start listening to it, was a video called Vegan is the Only Answer, 2016 documentary, and I'll link everything below if you guys want to check it out. But it really caught my attention, and so you know, I do link to videos about why I became vegan in my recipes that I post weekly, and I don't know how many of you have actually clicked on them. And I know most of you guys who are following me, who were following me from my previous channel, you're not vegan and you don't care about it, and you're probably just here for me, which is really awesome, and I thank you for that, with my hope that, you know, you'll have an open mind and really want to try these vegan recipes because they're awesome, first of all. But I don't know, I guess bigger than that, I really just, you know, want to expand the knowledge base of what veganism is and why I went vegan. You know, there's so many reasons, but, you know, and there's so many different reasons why different people do go vegan. Some people do it strictly for health benefits. Some people do it just for the animals. Some people do it just for the environmental benefit that it has. And so, you know, there's a lot of different reasons why people do go vegan. For me, it was definitely for the animals. I am such an animal lover, and you know, even people who eat meat claim to be animal lovers, but then they'll eat animals. So there is a huge disconnect when it comes to the food on your plate and the animals that we claim to love so much. And so I want to just talk mostly about this video that it really just it really just struck me. And you know, I try not to really look at these things anymore, like the graphicness of the videos, but honestly that's what turned me vegan once and for all when I finally did. Well, actually that's what turned me vegetarian 9 years ago once and for all, when I finally did decide to make the switch, was because I just, you know, started probing into the animal agriculture business and how horrific it is and how torturous it is and how painful it is for these animals that are sentient beings that can feel and think, and they're really not that much different from us. And when you start to look at the world and how everything is connected, you know, and I might be getting a little bizarre for some people to follow, and some people just can't really comprehend a thought process like that, or maybe they just don't want to, and that's where the disconnect comes in. And that's why when you buy your food at the supermarket, everything's wrapped neatly in little plastic packages with no ideas about where this food came from. And people like to keep it that way because you don't want to see how that steak or chicken or whatever got into the supermarket and then onto your plate. People just don't want to connect with that. And so when I did finally connect with that, it was through actually watching it. And there's a really great you know, saying that goes around that basically says, if you can't look at it and where it's coming from, then how can you eat it? So this video, you know, like I was just trying to start to say, is that I don't really expose myself to a lot of the graphic stuff that's going on every single second of every day in the animal agriculture business. And it's even bigger than that though, because what really caught my attention in this video was when they were going out to sea to actually grab up some of the baby killer whales that they would then put into SeaWorld. And so I'm going to link in here because, I mean, you just have to see it to be able to feel it.
We're there trying to get the young orca into stretcher, and the whole family is out here 25 yards away maybe in a big line, and they're communicating back and forth. Well, you understand then what you're doing, you know. I lost it. I mean, I just started crying. I didn't stop working, but I, you know, just couldn't handle it. And just like kidnapping a little kid away from her mother. Everybody's watching. What can you do? It's the worst thing I can think of. You know, I can't think of anything worse than that.
They brought in the senior research scientists to analyze the vocals. They were long-range vocals. She was trying something that no one had even heard before, looking for Takara. That's heartbreaking. How can anyone look at that and think that that is morally acceptable? It's not.
And so for me to actually like witness that kind of stuff going on, all in the name of money, because that's really all it is, guys, right? I mean, like capturing and using these animals just for like human entertainment. I mean, I'm not even talking about food even at this point. It's like, you know, just that, circuses, zoos. And, you know, I don't know, it's here, it's in this conversation where I think people want to shut down and shut vegans off, because honestly, veganism is not a diet. It's a way of living your life as cruelty-free as possible. And so that includes wearing leather, going to zoos, supporting circuses, going to SeaWorld. And then this video then went into, you know, just the whole thing about horse racing. And like, my God, that's like what really just like made me break down. And I don't want to come off as like this crazy weirdo in this video, because you know, I think that's a lot of the idea of what people have, that vegans are just like these crazy off their rocker kind of people, when honestly we're not. It's just really have been being able to connect with every single thing on this planet. You, your pet dog, your cat, a cow, a pig, a fish, like all of it is so connected. And I think that's what really shakes me so much, because I feel things at such a deep level, like a soul level, and that's hard to explain to people who maybe just don't feel things at that level. And you know, it was a progression for me. I haven't always been this way. Well, maybe I have always been this way. It's allowing yourself to actually be this way, though. And so I guess I don't know why I'm making this video right now, except to I don't know, I just felt like I needed to talk to somebody, right? Like, I really was shaken the way they, just in horse racing as another example of human greed and using animals just to generate money. That's what horse racing is, right? Think of the millions of dollars that go into these huge horse races, the Kentucky Derby once a year, and just how they drive these animals to the point where their legs just break while they're running the track, and it's like nobody even blinks an eye on that because there's so much money to be had. It's just, to me, it's absolutely sickening and so unnecessary.
Our mouths are one of the most sensitive parts of our bodies, and bits are designed to inflict pressure on this most delicate area. Bits also obstruct a horse's airway and interfere with breathing, which is especially problematic seeing as how bits are used primarily when making great physical demands of a horse. In his article, Pathophysiology of Bit Control in the Horse, published in the Journal of Equine Veterinary Science, Dr. Robert Cook states that the bit method of control is invasive, physiologically contraindicated, and counterproductive, and it frightens a horse and causes pain, suffering, and injury. In his 2002 study, The Effect of the Bit on the Behavior of the Horse, Dr. Cook concluded that the bit is responsible for at least 50 problems. The four most frequently cited effects were to instill fear, to make the horse fight back, to trigger a flight response, and to cause facial neuralgia or head shaking. These and other behavioral effects were associated primarily with oral pain. However, the responses were not limited to the oral cavity, for they included a whole cascade of systemic effects. Predominantly, these involved the nervous system and resulted in adverse behavioral responses.
And so, I don't know, I guess I just felt like I wanted to make this video, and who knows, maybe I won't even publish it or share it. It's maybe just was something like I needed to kind of get out, because I don't really talk about this side of it too much with you guys. I mean, I'm always, you know, I don't really get on my soapbox often anymore. I did do that when I first actually went vegetarian, and I just wanted everyone to know why I was doing it, and why isn't everyone else, and I do understand that everyone has their journey in life, and you know, people have different reasons for wanting to do things, and if it just doesn't resonate with you, then it just doesn't, and there's nothing that I could say or do that's going to actually change that for you. You know, everyone has a personal journey, and that needs to change for you at your time, or maybe never in this lifetime. I mean, my hope is that everyone would kind of see the truth in all of this, and that, you know, trying to spread veganism is not like this crazy trend of like these hippie vegan weirdo people that are just trying to I don't know, change traditions and cultures. And you know, one thing that always stuck with me is that, for example, slavery, right? If you want to talk about slavery, for example, human slavery, it's not that much different from animal slavery. And people now, we would say, oh my God, it's like wrong, you can't have slaves, right? So it just is in that thought process, that same idea of just because it was tradition or it was accepted at a certain time doesn't mean that it's right. And so, look, we can even, there's people who don't really give a crap about animals or their welfare at all, and I understand that too. I don't understand it, but I do understand that there are people who really don't look at it from an animal rights perspective. They feel that animals were put on this earth for our benefit. I don't agree with that. If you actually want to do research and look into the way that animals interact with one another and how they have babies, and they're really not that much different from us, you know? When the baby cow gets ripped from its mother at birth so that we could steal its milk to make ice cream and drink milk and all these wonderful things that we love to eat, you're not focusing in on that bond, that's that mother and child bond that's absolutely being ripped apart for money and for our taste buds. Like, to me, what's more important, you know? And there are people who would say, oh, I want to eat it and I'm going to eat it, and that's more important. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand that there's just different levels where people are at when it comes to this topic. So aside from like the food part of it, is I guess what I'm trying to say is that there is such a huge environmental impact on the animal agriculture industry. I mean, if you look at an aerial view of a animal factory farming where these animals are actually bred and live and then they go to slaughter, if you look at an aerial view of that, it absolutely looks like a disease on this planet. It is horrifying. And it's basically really, there's so much information out on the internet right now, which when I was transitioning to vegetarian, even all the way back in my teens, there was none of this information to be had. Like, there was no internet at that time. And basically all I relied on was some publications from PETA. And you're talking over 20 years ago, like well over 20 years ago. And so, you know, I know there's a lot of controversy around PETA, the organization, and I'm not saying that I am all for their practices and the way that they do things, but what I'm saying about them is that that was my first introduction into, you know, just taking a glimpse at what am I eating and where did this come from. And so again, I don't really know why I'm making this video and if I'll even put it out, but I did just really, I don't know, I just really broke down, which I always do whenever I watch an undercover video or anything from a slaughterhouse or just the way these animals are being treated. It's just absolutely sickening, and so that's why I don't expose myself to it anymore, because I've already made my decision, and I know it's happening, so I don't feel like I really need to see it every day, because it just really hurts my soul. I mean, to the point where I just was broken down crying and sobbing, like shaking and sobbing, and like, because I just feel it at such a level. Maybe I feel the connectedness, you know, the same way that I do with you guys who I've never even met before, and just the interactions and the emails that I get and the comments that I get, and you know, we are all one and we are all in this together. And there's such a movement to create distance and separation so that we don't feel like we're all one here on this earth. And you know, I don't know, I said to myself, like, so what am I supposed to do about this? What do I do about this? How can I help? And I mean, maybe through my blog and through my recent transition to vegan and trying to reach out to you guys who aren't vegan, but so many of you, when I first transitioned, were like, oh no, I hate vegan, I don't know why you're doing this, and have literally said to me, I'll never watch you again. There's been a lot of people who have come back and emailed me and said, however many months later, you know, I never thought I would try vegan, but for health reasons or for whatever reasons, they were recommended to do it, or somebody else that they knew were doing it, and they just found the benefits of having a vegan lifestyle and a vegan diet and just living as cruelty-free as we possibly can on this earth. How thrilling has it been for me that people who were emphatically like, no, I'm not doing it, I'll never watch you again, have come back to me to say, I'm going vegan. I mean, so maybe that's my little part in this, and I have to really think that it is. Maybe if I can influence just a couple of people to just change your diet a little bit, just look at your food just a little bit differently, maybe I've done a little bit of a part to kind of help humanity and this earth that we live on that's being destroyed every single day in the name of greed and just money and just that. So anyway, I don't know, I did this video, and take from it what you will. All the links are below, guys, if you want to check out some of the videos that I think are really just eye-opening, and you know, from health to environment to just animal welfare, there's just so much that goes into it. And honestly, if you could just adapt this way of living, this way of thinking, I promise you, you will have peace. Because I have gotten so much peace in the last few years, once I really started focusing in to what you are what you eat. And if you eat torture and pain and terror, it's going to play out in your body and through your health and through your thought process and just how you feel and anxiety and all of it. And so anyway, I don't know, I've always tried to stay away from videos like this where I feel like I'm preaching to you guys, and I don't know, today I just felt like I had to tell you what's on my mind. So take it for what it is, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
We all know quite a number of people who have everything that it would take to be happy, and they are not happy because they want something else, or they want more of the same. And we all know people